Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy Heroes video and to a brand new episode of Grand Arena 5v5. This is round 2 of week 2. As you can probably tell from the screen, this is pre-recorded footage, so doing a voiceover for the gameplay instead. But I do still hope you enjoy this bit, and if you do, obviously a like and comment is always much appreciated, and don't forget to hit the sub button down below. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so start off, we're going to do my defenses. We'll go over my defenses because they actually held and did pretty well. So my Rain LV held for one battle apiece, and then I believe we had some holds up in the north and in the south zone as well. So my Saw held for 2 there, as you can see, didn't get beaten with my Shrukron. Then I believe in the south we had a hold with my Sortie team, which is kind of a bit of a Wampa trap at the moment. That is the, I want to say it's a protection up Kron. I can't really remember. It might have been damage or debuffs. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to obviously starting off on their south wall, trying to break through that, and starting off with Bad Batch versus Qui-Gon Jinn, because that is obviously a pretty tried and tested counter, especially against ones without Keller and Beck in it, and especially without Cam being in there, makes the team a lot slower. So my Echo's always guaranteed to go first as long as they, well, as long as the Cam's not there. So pretty easy for Bad Batch, really. Just try to go for Anakin when I can, because obviously the true damage from the defense up will normally just kill off Qui-Gon Jinn anyway. And if you have like Omega in there with the assists and things, or the double tap from Hunter, you can just kill, and obviously straight after there you killing Qui-Gon Jinn with the true damage dead. So pretty easy start, nice easy 75 banner win. Then I believe we move on to Jawas. Obviously, I'm trying to use Jawas as much as possible before their Datacron expires at the end of this Grand Arena season. They've been away, haven't been able to use them as much as well. So, obviously, most of it. So, we do have protection up Kron on the Ewoks there. Not that the thermals are really going to, like, do anything about that. They'll just probably sit there and laugh at it, considering there's about 40 thermals, as you see there now. They do have tenacity up on low grey. So, low grey is not actually getting any thermals, but the others are, and they're stacking very high and pretty much guaranteed death for them at this point. And we just got to wait, obviously, for them all to blow up, and then eventually just whittle down on low grey. Hopefully he drops his tenacity up, and we can't remember whether I full autoed or not, but for our Jawas do no damage at all, hitting 5k at the best of times. It's a shame the team relies so much on thermals to actually do any damage. They kind of do need a rework, or at least like Nebit's lead needs a rework is what I was trying to say, or a kit touch up, just so they can make them a bit more viable. Jawas are a hell of a lot of fun to use. Love to see that. Next up we have Wampa versus Sortie. Not really something I would usually recommend doing, depending on what the Sortie team is, but I just felt against this one I was going to be okay. I can't remember whether they have a Datacron. They do, and this is a high Relic Sortie, so you have to watch out for those as well. But the whole thing with this is obviously killing off the sides, and then you just have to 1v1 versus Sortie and hopefully ramp up quick enough. So the quicker you can kill the sides, the better. So I would highly recommend probably not using Wampa against Sortie, well, depending on what obviously level the Sortie team is, but kind of like match the relics basically. So anything higher than relic 7 will take a relic 7 probably plus. This is a relic 8 Sortie, my Wampa is relic 7, so I felt this was a good matchup. If you take a good Tron as well, like stacking offense or any sort of offense boost or any armor penetration or something like that, is really going to help you out. And as you're about to see, we're probably just going to skip once we kill these sides down, because we do have about 4 to 3 minutes of full auto of Wampa just smacking 40 back and forth, obviously trying to ramp up that damage. So basic auto, he'll just take turns between roaring and basicing. He will never use his slam, so you might have to actually take it off auto to do one slam before you don't die. But as you're about to see, about 3 minutes have gone by and we're starting to hit really hard. 150k plus, managing to get through her protection up and obviously get her down for a win. This was something I was going to try out, obviously Gas versus Cere. The Cere team wasn't the best developed. Obviously Cere is, I believe, Gear 11 in this. Obviously, there's no Datacron, sorry, because he can't apply one. Obviously, Relic 1 or whatever it is, or E12, I have no idea. But I think I made the mistake of going after Taron first. Well, I should have gone straight for Cere. Cere is by far the weakest on this team at the gear level she is at. So I definitely feel like I made a mistake in that regards to probably just going after Cere. Try and make things a bit easy for myself. And this is quite an attacking lineup. Cere Malakos team, obviously Crew and Second Sister in there as well. No Cal or anything like that, so definitely was probably too much for my clones or my 501st team. I do get a bit unlucky there with no sacrifice from 5s. So my clones just got easily picked off there, as you saw. We were sat down for very long before he had to stand up and be like, where are all my clones gone? But we are unfortunately going to lose this one, and I think I backed out too late. Just as I clicked the forfeit button, he died. So I think they started with 10 meter, but obviously taking a Galactic Legend, we were still a lot faster than them. So I took C solo in, didn't take a Datacron because they didn't have a Datacron. Linked up Taron, and then I probably should have linked up Second Sister here. Cere is not a threat at gear 11. I just kept blanking out the fact that she was gear 11 for some reason. And as you can see, it's basically just a case of spreading around the deceived ability or debuff even, and then obviously waiting for getting to ultimate and then zapping everyone out there basically. As you saw, I did play that manually because I was making sure that both Crew and Second Sister were annihilated by C before we put on full auto against Nightsisters. Well, not a nice win, but a good cleanup. And we did get to the backcourt, which you just saw there, and then I decided to get Darth Bane out with a random Sith, trying to avoid using him with C now. He's obviously just really good with just him and one other Sith, and I just opted to take Darth Sidious here. And a somewhat decent Datacron, I believe, with just stacking offense on buffs. There's a lot of buffs passing around. This obviously starting with 3 is pretty good. So stacking offense already. Open up with an AoE. And yeah, 200k hit to start off with. I mean, can you ask for any more? Against the poor old trench team. Which, talking of which, we actually bring out later in this Grand Arena. Finally got to use a proper French team with Watt in there, and say I was fairly underwhelmed was probably very accurate. But I was kind of hoping for some big damage here. Fortunately, get as big as I thought it was going to be, less than 100k a hit, but yeah, nice 67 there. And this one is something I've been wanting to do for a while, is starting to use Nest more, not either with Qira for obviously the protection recovery whenever you would get a crit, or just Nest on her own. So I opted to take Nest against this slightly underdeveloped Mandos, Maul Mandos team, and I thought it was like, okay, this can win. I know this can beat this, but this got a lot closer than I expected at one point. And luckily, I've got a Relicate Nest, because I think any lower than my Relicate, I would have definitely been dead. We're about to see what happens in a moment and why that actually happens. Obviously, all the attacking turns is fine, but it's that little stacking number of dots that's kind of, or should have been worrying me, but I didn't think about it actually being a problem. And a counter attack, yeah. So do one attack here and then watch her health. Boom, almost dead from dots. And then luckily survived the Django rocket. That's always something to be scared about. But it's pretty much a case of just ramping up again, or just taking your time, and hopefully she'll counter and things to kill off the Mandos. I think it's just a case of waiting again. It's basically like Wampa. You have to wait. Hopefully not time out. But luckily against nothing too crazy on the Relic side of things, we were pretty easily, can't even speak, it's that late, but we were easily able to get through the Maul team is what I'm trying to say. So now Maul is about to die, and then I was so grateful that Django didn't decide to do a basic there, because I felt like he would have just one-shot my nest, and we managed to get a nice 64. So next up we have a Phoenix counter against a slightly odd Dash team, in that it's not the typical people you would see with Dash usually. Obviously no Vand or anything like that, but going to be a pretty straightforward fight. I'm pretty sure we don't allow them to take any turns other than the bonus turn that we give Bam, obviously, by hitting someone under the threshold. But luckily the dummy went into Whistling Bird, so we were able to kill him still rather than get stuck behind damaging him. Good. They killed Bam first while he was faffing about, sitting on the toilet, and then obviously we just killed Dash next. It's just pretty much to explain here. Nice win for a 65 banners. And then here we have Trench, obviously taking in a proper squad in terms of like the optimal lineup with Watt in there. And my Trench is severely undeveloped at only Relic 3, and this is probably why I was quite underwhelmed by how this went. But spoiler alert, you do get a win. It is I don't know, I didn't feel great about it. Because yeah, that was great, you know, Trench just getting blown up straight away before he even gets a go. But I think that's just down to a modding thing, and obviously this is against a first order TIE Pilot Omicron team, so it's very fast. My Dooku just needs to be a lot faster so he can stealth everyone at the beginning and keep Django out in the open, obviously with his damaging and the kill gen. So partly a modding issue. Obviously I do need to put some more effort into mods. French team, so currently stuck behind Crew's taunts, which I believe he dies here. Then luckily no AoE from Sith Trooper, but unfortunately my Dooku does die. But because we've got Watt here, we can bring him back. At least that is the plan. Django doing his job, doing some nice damage here. Now I'm just trying to like spread out the abilities that don't do any damage. So Watt's obviously passing around his tech, and then I believe we try and avoid hitting. So I felt like I think I do a burning here. Yeah, burning here obviously for less damage. Obviously double tap probably would have killed first little TIE Pilot. Just trying to wait for that one turn that we can actually revive Dooku. I think we just do a basic here with Watt. Hit that foresight as well. Then I think we hit Phasma, so trying to stall out a little bit more as well. Get that Dooku back so we can increase our banners. We put Extortion on Phasma. We slow her down a little bit. Nice stun on her. And I thought, let's just finish with the rocket with Django, and Django happened to kill both of them. So that's how that went. Next up, we have Ewoks versus this Finn Resistance team. Obviously, Ewoks don't get used as much since the Ewok crons went away. So I just felt like there's a perfect opportunity for me to actually use them here against a underdeveloped Resistance team. Obviously, my first target is always going to be Resistance here as Finn, because he is the one that gives the whole of the team that counter chance, and once he's out of the way, it's pretty straightforward. So getting rid of the Resistant heroes, then we just got to get rid of this fight. As you see, a nice 65 banner win, and that does leave open the ship zone. which unfortunately did have a Leviathan, and as you can probably tell from what's been going on in my videos so far, that one didn't go. So I need to just practice my Leviathan mirror, basically. But next up, we have Nightsisters versus GG. It's a proper GG team, a proper Nightsister team. I just know this is a very good counter at the moment against GG, especially with that stat being there. I don't know what the counter is like with stat, whether stat actually stops Nightsister, as I do know. But the protection recovery we have on this team now is absolutely brilliant. It makes Nightsisters a lot more fun to use because you just know that they're actually going to get their banners back for the protection, because obviously they're just used before they got all their Sarge's Omicron, of before we got Merrin, there was no protection recovery at all, so it was just like you got 60 banners if you took Knights, basically. It wasn't really optimal to use them, but now they're really great, and obviously get max banners against GG now. So I do have both the Omicrons on Sarge and Merrin, both doing some pretty nice work with Plague, and the healing immunity is obviously nice. And then we do for ace and I win. Then, oh, this is one as well that I don't really use as much in 5v5. Obviously, first of all, Type Pilot gets used by me quite a lot in 3v3, in that I use Hux, Red, and first of all Type Pilot in 3s. But in 5s, it kind of gets left behind because obviously I tend to use SWGOH more. And obviously the leftover team after SWGOH and all the main, the meta first order, I should say, you don't really have a proper first order team for first order Type Pilot to go with. So kind of a benched Omicron, unfortunately, in 5v5, but managed to take it here against Bossk. As you saw, we just deleted who even was that at the beginning? I can't remember who it was at the beginning. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward, really. Do so much damage with the Omicron, it's ridiculous. Obviously get that buff immunity on, Dengar stop him going under stealth, and then I almost did forget about Boba's rocket, and Boba had to remind me why he's a bit of a nuisance, so we had to delete him to deal with Dengar last. And then here comes the fleets and the annoying Empire versus Leviathan matchup, because I just cannot seem to get this right at all recently. I don't know whether I'm just going to have to practice Leviathan mirrors and just use Leviathan from now on, or whether anyone at all could just help me with what I'm doing wrong, because I don't think I've actually won a single Leviathan fight with Chimaera this season. And I think it is just down to some like misplays. I think there's a bit of a misplay in here when it gets later on when my defender's about to die. Did have the healing immunity on us there, which is pretty annoying. I think that really helped my defender much. And I think, yeah, I think I bring in Interceptor here where I should have just healed. I think that's what I should have done. But we were able to kill off Sith Bud with this, but obviously that means my TIE defender is likely going to die. Red health is a good mix. Luckily we got a nice dodge there, but obviously Sith Empire Trooper's ship just kills me, and then it's a game over from there. I think we get to ultimate. I cannot remember, but we'll just let this one play out the fight. Did manage to kill off Mandos' ship, which is great. Does make for an easier cleanup. Obviously with Raddus, which is what my usual cleanup has been. So I'm going to lose this one, unfortunately. But we're going to go straight back in with Raddus. Get a nice cleanup done. Raddus is a lot better now that we have the Zorii ship, at least from my experience of very briefly. Her reinforcement ability is a lot nicer than I thought it was, so I'm actually opting to put her in as a reinforcement, obviously, rather than in the start like I did at the very beginning when I came back, because I didn't really know what Zori's ship kit was like. Just clean off those debuffs. Big hit on Sith Trooper, wasn't as big as I thought. Luckily, Rey's basic hits for multiple times, so it's very easy to get down those stacks on Sith Empire Trooper's ship. And then obviously killing Sith Trooper at the end there for a 49 banner cleanup. Then we have a pretty staple counter really of Profundity versus Executor, so I'm not going to talk over this one much because you can't really know the drill. Obviously, calling in Han IG with the... Oh, it's not even the Xanadu Blood one. But yeah, this isn't really an optimal lineup. Pretty straightforward. Oof, almost. We do get a nice 75 banner win here. And it is just down to the last fleet, which is a Negotiator XP. Same again, pretty straightforward. Obviously, just go straight for Anakin. Try and get him out as soon as possible. If you can get a marked on him, that's really great. Down Y-Wing. Didn't manage to get the buff immunity, unfortunately, but we are able to kill Anakin very early, which means this is a pretty simple victory after this point. So you just got to try and recover some banners where you can, be healing up at the right time, but there isn't really a lot you can really do to avoid that because there's a lot of AoEs in the Negotiator team, which obviously tends to steal your banners, unfortunately. Hopping into Ultimate is basically a death sentence for the opposing fleet. As you can see, we are going to get a pretty decent balance. I think, yeah, 73 banners. I was pretty happy with that. And that did leave us with a very good score of 1820, which I was pretty happy with at the time. Still quite annoyed that I used gas versus that Cere team. But that is basically how the fight ended. My opponent didn't do any more attacks. So I did manage to get a nice full there yet again. So I do hope you enjoy this. If you have... Obviously, like I mentioned at the beginning, a like, comment is always appreciated. And don't forget to hit that sub button down below. And I shall catch you in the next one.